After uprisings in Tunisia and Egypt, The Economist has put together a shoe throwers index, charting Arab countries' vulnerability to instability according to a series of weighted indicators. First up, longevity. Tunisia's Zine El Abidine Ben Ali had been in power for 23 years before being deposed. Egypt's recently departed president, Hosni Mubarak, was in charge for 3 decades. But Oman's ruler, Sultan Qaboos bin Said Al Said, has held power for even longer and so far remains unshaken, so we've made this figure only 15% of our weighted data. The percentage of the population under 25, who are often unemployed and restless and have made up a significant proportion of the protesters in Egypt and Tunisia, is more important, so we've given it greater weighting in the overall chart. The size of the population in general doesn't seem to be a determining factor. Egypt is the most populous country in the Middle East, whereas Tunisia is much smaller. That said, the United Arab Emirates' tiny native population appears to make it more secure. Those countries with high GDPs look more stable. People there have more to lose, at least financially, if they turn on their governments, and those in charge have greater resources to buy off their citizens. Lack of democracy comes next. There are few full democracies in the Middle East. The only ones on our chart, Lebanon and Iraq, have many flaws, so the democracy factor doesn't change the rankings too much. There's a lot more variation when it comes to corruption. But Lebanon, for example, which gets a high corruption rating, still remains low on the chart overall. The Gulf states' lack of democracy seems to be balanced by their relative lack of corruption. The final factor, freedom of press, makes little difference, given that the media are fairly constrained throughout the region. But it cements the position of our top 4, Yemen, Libya, Syria and Iraq, as the countries most vulnerable to instability. That seems reasonable. Oman's place at number 6 in the table is perhaps more surprising, given how stable the country appears. But few expected Egypt and Tunisia to erupt as they have done, so perhaps it is one worth watching.